You ever watch a sheriff's lights flicker through the dusk, lighting up your old farmhouse like you're starring in a crime drama? Except the crime is just you living your life? That's exactly where this story starts, right here on my gravel driveway. As Fiona, queen of the HOA and self-appointed guardian of all that is beige and boring, points at me like I'm public enemy number one. "That's him, officer," she snaps, all fire and fury. "He refuses to comply with our community regulations." If you could bottle arrogance and pour it over a human, you'd get Fiona, voice cracking, cheeks pink with righteous anger, finger jabbing the air like she's swatting a fly. The sheriff just sighs, looks at me like, "Really, man?" and asks, "Sir, what crime are we talking about?" And you know what Fiona says? She huffs, "He's destroying the uniformity of our neighborhood. Not vandalism, not theft, uniformity." That's when I knew, deep in my bones, this was never about property. This was about control. And let me tell you, she was about to lose it. See, I didn't go looking for a fight. I inherited this patch of country just outside Faro from my grandfather, a quiet, stubborn man who believed in two things: hard work and never letting anybody tell you what to do on your own soil. 5 acres, an orchard he planted himself, a barn older than my father, a split rail cedar fence that had survived more storms than I could count. I kept it just like he left it. Didn't ask for trouble, just wanted a quiet life, some rescue dogs, and the sweet smell of apple blossoms in spring. But peace, I've learned, rubs the wrong people raw, especially folks like Fiona, who roll up in their shiny SUVs, crisp HOA polos, and smiles sharper than a box cutter. The first time she showed up, she brought Bernard, her right-hand man. Picture a guy who looks like he was born wearing a name tag, voice full of rules he didn't write and would never question. "Good morning," Fiona chirped, syrupy sweet. "We're here to welcome you to the Silver Creek Homeowners Association." I straightened up from my weeding, wiped the dirt from my hands, and just stared. There had to be a mistake. This property was never part of Silver Creek. I told her, plain and simple. My grandfather made sure of it. Fiona's smile flickered for half a heartbeat, but she slapped it back on. "Oh, that must have been before the expansion," she said. "Your land now falls under our jurisdiction. You'll need to sign these documents and pay your initiation fee." I didn't even glance at the papers. "No, just that, no." Her face went cold as marble. "This isn't optional." I locked eyes with her, steady as a stone. "Neither is ownership." She left, but I could see it in her eyes. She was already plotting her next move. And boy, did the games begin. Letters started arriving, thick envelopes with the HOA logo, each one more ridiculous than the last. Violation notice for my house color, unauthorized fence structure, failure to pay community dues. It would have been funny if it wasn't so infuriating. I called my friend Ingrid, who's a paralegal and absolutely fearless when it comes to HOA drama. She checked my deed and just laughed. "They have zero authority," she said. "They're bluffing. Don't give them an inch." And I didn't. I saved every letter, snapped photos of every notice, logged every bizarre interaction, because bullies crumble when you start keeping records. A week later, Fiona showed up again, this time with a new muscle. Elton, who looked like he moonlighted as a bouncer, but had the expression of a man who thinks Sudoku is witchcraft. Fiona clutched a binder like it was the holy gospel. "Mr. Miller," she announced, "your grace period has ended. Sign today or face legal action." I leaned against the porch, cool as you please. Grace period? I never agreed to anything. Her smile was all teeth and no warmth. "Everyone in this community abides by the same standards." I shrugged. "Then I guess I'm not in your community." Elton loomed behind her, but I didn't budge. "We're not leaving until this is resolved." "Then you're trespassing," I said, "and I'll call the sheriff." Fiona's lips curled. "We'll call first." She waved her phone like a badge of honor. "Go ahead," I told her. "Let's see how that works out for you." She froze, then spun on her heel and marched off, hissing, "You'll join eventually, one way or another." That night, I locked the doors and installed cameras. Felt silly, but my gut told me this was just the opening act. HOAs don't need the law. They rely on fear. And, right on cue, 3 days later, here come the sirens. Two patrol cars, lights flashing across my orchard. I stepped outside, hand steady but heart thumping. Fiona pointed me out like she was leading a witch trial. "He's refusing to comply with community laws," she shouted. The older deputy, who looked like he'd rather be home watching the game, just raised an eyebrow at me. "You want to explain?" I handed over my deed, color-coded, tabbed, highlighted, thanks to Ingrid. "My property isn't part of their HOA. They've been harassing me for weeks." He read it over, nodded, and turned to Fiona. "Ma'am, this is a civil issue. You can't call 911 for this." Her face went ghost white. "But he's violating. If you use emergency services again for this, we'll cite you," he said. Candace, one of her cronies, tried to jump in, but the younger cop just shook his head and muttered, "This is ridiculous." And that was that. The mighty HOA retreated, tails between their legs. But humiliation, I learned, breeds revenge. Next week, there's a notice nailed to my fence. Unapproved structure, violation, pending fines. Then a county complaint. Someone, I wonder who accused me of dumping hazardous waste in the creek. County inspectors showed up, ran tests, found nothing. I didn't have to guess who was behind it. Fiona was playing dirty, and she was just getting started. One morning, I walk out and nearly drop my coffee. Dozens of shiny metal yard signs have sprouted along my property line, all stamped with the HOA logo, future site of Silver Creek Community Garden. They'd literally planted their flag on my soil. I yanked one out, metal screaming in the dirt, and chucked it in my truck bed, hands shaking with disbelief. This wasn't overreach, it was trespassing. I called Ingrid, almost laughing from the craziness of it all. They just claimed my land as theirs. She was calm as ever. "Good. Now we have evidence. And thanks to my cameras, clear as day, perfect faces, midnight timestamp, Fiona, Bernard, and two more board members hammering in those signs. That's the kind of proof that even the boldest bully can't argue with." I drove straight to the sheriff's office, footage in hand. The deputy from before recognized me. "Back again." I told him everything. He watched the tape jaw tight. "They're finished," he said. By sunrise, deputies had paid a little visit to the HOA office. Fiona tried to claim the signs were temporary markers, but when the county checked for permits, nothing. The HOA got slapped with fines for false representation and trespassing. It didn't take long for word to spread. The local paper picked up the story. HOA accused of claiming private land, calling 911 to force membership. My phone blew up, neighbors gossiping, HOA members side-eyeing their own board. Janine, a reporter with more guts than most, reached out after hearing the rumors. I gave her the truth. No drama, just facts. That was enough. The fallout was something to see. Mara Gold, a sweet lady from 3 streets over, dropped by with an apple pie and a heart full of regret. "We didn't know," she whispered. "They told us you were refusing to help the neighborhood." I just smiled. That's one way to describe minding your own business. The next letter from Fiona wasn't a threat, but an apology, thin as tissue, thick with legalese, inviting me to a meeting at the community center to discuss boundaries. I said I'd come, but only with my attorney, Kevin. Let me paint you a picture. Community center, long table, 10 board members pretending they're not terrified. Fiona opens with her best attempt at warmth, then pivots fast. "Due to expanded neighborhood parameters, your property should contribute to community upkeep." Kevin doesn't even blink. "You mean pay dues for amenities my client doesn't use? On land your own charter excludes." Bernard sputters. "That exclusion was decades ago. County lines are different now." Kevin drops a certified map, bam, on the table. "And yet this parcel remains independent." Should I read the clause? Dead silence. Fiona is tapping her binder, Candace staring at her shoes. "You call the cops on me, put signs on my property. Now you want goodwill." I said quietly, "I think we're past that." And that's when Bernard snapped. "We're just trying to keep order," he barked. Kevin cut through the tension with, "It's called extortion when you demand payment without authority." That word hung in the air like a loaded gun. Fiona grabbed her papers. "Meeting adjourned," she whispered, voice trembling. And just like that, the whole thing came undone. County investigation grew teeth. HOA members revolted. Fiona resigned. Health reasons. Bernard vanished. The Silver Creek HOA had to file an official amendment, excluding my property and a couple other families they tried to rope in. I didn't throw a party, didn't gloat. The quiet was celebration enough. Weeks went by. My orchard thrived. My old dog, Toby, finally healing from his limp, followed me from tree to tree as I worked. Sometimes, HOA cars still crawled past, slowing down as if they were checking if I'd disappeared. I always waved. None of them waved back. In the evenings, I'd sit on the porch, sweet tea in hand, sun setting over the orchard, swing creaking the way it used to when my grandfather sat there. The security cameras still blinked, silent witnesses to the whole circus. People asked me what it felt like having an entire HOA come after me. Honestly, it was like standing in the middle of a storm you knew would blow over, because when you truly own the ground beneath your feet, all they can do is make noise. Months later, I saw Fiona in the grocery store. She looked smaller, hair limp, all that edge worn down. She glanced at me and turned away. I didn't say a word. I didn't have to. That night, wind rustling the orchard and porch light casting long shadows on the fence, I realized something. Real power isn't loud. It's quiet, steadfast, patient, built on proof and principle, not intimidation or noise. That's how you win a war against arrogance, one slow, stubborn day at a time. But hey, let me ask you, if you were in my shoes, would you fight for your ground or fold just to keep the peace? Where do you draw the line between community and control? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your HOA nightmares, your wins, your what would you do moments. Like, share, and tell me, what does real justice look like to you?